and today we're painting a frog, a actual poisonous dart frog. And why would I pick that subject? Very good question. I'll answer you in just a second. But first, you'll see me put in the background on this frog. So as you can see, I've already put on a grid and my sketch, and I'm starting with the background because I like to wait with the subject until last. In this case, I like to just have that background done so that I don't have to worry about that later on. So that's all I'm doing here is I'm filling in. The background has to be somewhat blurry based on my photo, my reference photo that I use. I have fast forwarded through this process quite a bit because that's not the main reason that this video is up here. It's about the frog. Here you'll see me with a mop brush trying to create a very soft, blurry background. So there's a lot of blending going on, and the best time to blend is when your paint is almost dry, but it's still tacky, it's still kind of wet. And I will just go in with a mop brush and I'll try to just blend it all together. This has taken me some time to kind of master that skill, but it is definitely something that is possible with acrylics. Easier with oils, I can tell you that. Why on earth would I paint a frog? Well, if you can remember my previous painting, which is the Jaguar's Eye, and go check it out if you want. Description is, or the link, sorry, is in the description. My daughter asked for a painting, you know, for on her desk, and so I did that. And then when I was working on that, my 6-year-old son was like, "Mom, I want a painting too." And he first came up with, "Oh, I want a car." And I'm like, "Dude, the one thing I suck at is straight lines. And sure, I can use a ruler and make them as straight as possible, but I'd still have to like paint straight lines. I'm not very good at that." Plus, I said to him, "Dude, I'm more into landscape and animals. Is there any animal you'd like me to paint?" Well, it took a little bit of, you know, decision making, but he eventually decided on this frog. So that's what I decided to do. And trust me, I wasn't very excited about this because I really was trying to learn how to paint, you know, furry and fluffy animals, not so much amphibians that look wet and slimy. But hey, when a 6-year-old asks you to paint a frog, you paint a frog. Anyway, back to the painting, and what I'm doing here is that I'm just blocking in the frog at this point, and you'll see that there's a slight color difference between that hind leg that is kind of sticking out behind the frog's back and the one in front, because I'm just trying to follow the colors that I see on the reference photo as close as possible. And this first layer is all but mid-tone. It's not the actual end product color, because in the picture, very obviously, the legs are more black than gray. But I want a base to work off of so that I can build on it so I can put my layers down properly. Now here's my face, just so you know that I'm actually a person, okay? This is not AI. I am an actual person that paints, okay? There's nothing fake here. Anyway, so the fun part now is to fill in the frog with the bright red. It's like, yeah, fire truck red. Love it. And I am just laying down one color all around, just filling that in. And it is actually quite satisfying to do. Now I left the bottom part open like that because there was a very distinct shadow on the photo that I just wanted to block in immediately, so I didn't have to try to, you know, get that all in the right shade color later on. You can also see that I have way too much water here. Like the paint is kind of moving around, and I didn't like that. It was a little too translucent or transparent, so yeah, note to self, a little less water the next time. You will see a lot of fast forwarding, especially in the beginning part of this video, just because this is all, to me, kind of like boring. I don't want to say boring because otherwise I wouldn't be doing this work, but it's kind of like leading up to the fun part, leading up to when I can actually start putting in details. At this point, I am glazing just to try to get some of the shadows in the spots where the shadows are showing on the photo. Now it's time to start with some detailing, and these are the two brushes I'm using. I'm going to start with that little hind leg. And what I really am doing is I am just going in and putting down little dots, little lines, little what have yous. And this is for me where the fun starts, is to start building up texture, to start making it look like the photo. So there's a lot of stipple, stipple, stipple. And I also will change the color eventually, but I do one color and I do everything with that color that I feel it needs all over the painting before my paint dries. I don't really keep my palette wet. I just try to work with what I have and try to work smart. So this color might end up on other parts on the frog before moving on to a next color. Always test a little bit on the side there, and then there you go. You can see that this is a total different shade, and I'm just gonna bring that in there, and it's already starting to take shape, right? And that's why I just put like a very basic mid-tone color down first and still let that shine through. It is amazing how quick you can create texture that way. And this is the bigger brush, and I'm just stippling in lighter colors. Make sure that the previous layer you put on is dry before you do this, otherwise you're going to create a mud bath. So a little fast forwarded, you can already see that I've started on the front leg as well. But now I'm going back in with that smaller brush that I used in the beginning when I first started putting my first layer in. Same brush, just a different color, a lighter color, trying to get highlights and shadows very much more distinguished, and yeah, trying to create that realism here. You can see I am going in with a shade lighter than what I just put in. And that's how I build it up. Layer after layer, add a little bit more white to my paint, make it a little bit lighter. Keep going until you get the results you're looking for. And this is my final little layer of details on that hind leg. This is the lightest color that I'm going to go in with. And as I said, I just study my reference photo. I just look at the shapes that are on there. I don't want to look at it as, oh, it has to represent wetness or slime. I just look at the shapes that I see, and then I try to recreate them onto the canvas. By the way, this is a canvas board, and it's only 5 by 7, so it's small. It's like, you know, a photo size. And yeah, this is going to go up in my son's bedroom once it's finished. As you can see, I've already done a whole lot on that other leg that is more in the front. It's basically the exact same thing that I did and that I just showed you on that hind leg that is kind of sticking out at the top there. It's the same thing. It's rinse and repeat. It's just like layer after layer, and you just kind of work it until it starts to look the way that you want it. So again, one of my favorite parts is to put in the highlights and to really make it look like the light is, you know, reflecting off of its leg, but also to make it look kind of wet and especially look textured. I'm in my element here, dotting my life away. I really enjoy this part. It is just brings everything together. And when I'm actually painting, I'm really close to it. I'm really like looking at every single flippin' dot that goes on there. But then when I step away, I'm like, oh yeah, this looks really good. Because when I really am close to it, it doesn't always look very great. So my tip to you would definitely to be stepping away from your work and taking a look at it from a distance. If you've been following me for a while, you will always see me put my finger on there. And if I want to smudge it out, if it's maybe a little too bright or maybe a little too much paint, I have no problem putting my finger on it and just kind of either wiping completely away or just diffusing it a little. My advice is not to do that with oils, okay? Because there is some toxic component to oil paint. But I think there's also toxic free paints, but I'm not painting with oil, so I can't really tell you which ones they are. I know that I'm safe with my acrylics. Okay, so now we're gonna go on to the body part of the frog, the red part. So right now I just grabbed that big stippling brush again, and I'm just gonna go all over the body, stippling in a slightly different color of red, kind of mixed with orange, trying to get away from the flatness that is what it is right now. It's super flat. It was just one color with a little bit of shading here and there. So I'm trying to bring texture back into that main body part of the frog there. Now I'm going over with a slightly different color, slightly lighter, a bit of an orangey yellow color, just really trying to make the color of the frog pop because it's just flat. So now I'm going to use a fan brush. And this is a trick I've learned from another artist. His name is Michael James Smith. He does amazing realistic landscapes, but also I have seen him paint animals, humans, or other objects. His work is hyper realistic, like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. But this is one of the tricks that he uses for leaves on his in his landscape paintings, is you just take the corner of the brush and start dabbing, stippling, you know, pressing it onto your subject. And as you can see, I'm changing my angle and direction of the brush as well, so that it's not all uniform, because then it would look ridiculous. But that is a tip that I've learned from him. So go check him out, because he is absolutely phenomenal. And then with a slightly lighter color, I'm starting to outline where the highlights, you know, the wet spots, so to say, on this frog are going to be. Now, there's also shadows. So I just grabbed a round brush, and this is kind of like a reddish brown color, and I'm just like putting little dots in different spots on the frog where I see it again in the photo, just to create more depth. You know, you need shadows, you need highlights, you need the in between, you need everything all married together for it to, you know, turn into a nice picture. Round brush again, same round brush, different color. Again, mapping out more of that highlighted zone. You know, I've kind of painted over the first layer a little bit. Now I'm going in with another layer with a slightly lighter color, a bit of a cooler color. As you can see, the yellow has a bit of a cooler undertone. It's just a little bit of a foundation for the final highlights in the end. It's amazing what you can accomplish with the point of a round brush, actually. Now, because the frog was really kind of flat still, the color wasn't really popping. Here I am going in with a glaze, and I picked a really bold color here. This is like an orangey yellow glaze that I'm painting over everything that I've just done. Now, massive tip here, wait until everything is dry. Don't do this when you still have wet paint on there, because you're gonna just create a mess. But I just really needed the frog's color to pop, because it wasn't. It was cool and I didn't like it. I wanted more warmth. And here I come in here with a red glaze, which in my opinion really started to make this frog pop. Now, if you look closely, you can see that I am putting really, really tiny pressure on the canvas. I'm barely touching it. The glaze is accomplished by having the color that you want, and you just really water it down. There's a lot of water going on in this brush here. It's just, all you do is, like it said, it's a glaze. It goes over top of what you've already done. And so everything will still shine through. It's like a very transparent layer. Again, make sure that everything else is dry. And hey, yay for acrylics, because they dry super fast. So I just had to sit there for maybe 5 minutes, and then I could go over and just adjust the color to what I want the frog to be. And highlight time, my favorite time, love it, absolutely live for it. And again, I'm looking at the little shapes that I can see in my photo, and also roughly where they are situated on the photo. And yeah, I just, you know, I get so in my element doing this. I usually am listening to music, and I'm just kind of in my own little world. Although I did a lot of this painting while my daughter was actually playing, you know, in the same room with me. So it can be done, whether I have headphones on and I totally, you know, kind of escape from my own little world, or just having my daughter around, or any of my other kids. Now I'm speeding it up for you, obviously, because that took me some time. And a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, the time that goes into that, and the effort, every tiny little teeny weeny dot and stroke. I love it, you guys. This is one of the reasons I paint the way I paint. I absolutely love this. Now I'm done with the actual part of the frog's body, and it is time just to put the light in the eye that reflects, you know, whatever the frog is looking at. The catch light is what they call it, and this is not plain white. This is a bit of a grayish bluish color that goes on, and I kind of build up over top of that. It's usually a combination of 2 or 3 colors. And in with the itty bitty brush, and these will be the final tiny little brush strokes to bring this frog together. And there she is, or he. Here's my final result. It's a red poison dart frog. I really hope you enjoyed watching this, and I hope to see you again sometime. Stay happy, keep your peace. Bye.